Hi, welcome back to our Doyon series. Today we're going to talk about Doyon's land. So we've learned earlier that we are maybe the biggest private landholder in the United States, certainly in the top couple at 12.5 million acres. But there are lots of different topics in the land area, like how did we get specifically those land sections that we've gotten? What do we have left? What was the process? So I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about that today. First, of the 12.5 million acres, how did we get so much land? We're the biggest of the ANCSA regional corporations in terms of our land. And that really had to do with a so-called land loss formula back at the time of the passing of ANCSA. It was a big impediment to the settlement among the 12 regions. Certain regions like ours, people used huge amounts of land to gather subsistence resources, hunting and fishing and other resources, because as we all know, those of us in the interior, it can be pretty bleak and desolate in the winter. It's a hard place to make a living historically. So that's one component of it that facilitated the passage of ANCSA, was this land loss formula. We were a big beneficiary of that formula at Doyon. So another question that a lot of shareholders ask is, why is there this strange checkerboard pattern around our villages? They ask that question after they see maps of our land holdings. That was part of ANCSA that dictated that the village corporation had to take the whole township in which it sits. A township is 6 miles by 6 miles. Around that township, there's the so-called ANCSA withdrawal area that's 25 townships. So 5 townships by 5 townships. So that's 30 miles by 30 miles. Doyon, as the regional corporation, was obligated to take every other township within that area. So that excludes what the village corporation was able to select. We have to take the subsurface of whatever the village corporation selects, and then we have to take every other township. So that's where the checkerboard pattern came from. Sometimes village corporations made selections that look a little different. They would, for example, choose all the land along the Yukon River, which makes a lot of sense because they use that land most heavily. So you'll see large stretches of village corporation land along rivers, along roads, along heavy use areas around lakes and other places that the local people most used. Around that, we have that checkerboard pattern, and then Doyon had the ability to take the rest of the land in these large chunks, mainly for economic development potential, so minerals, oil and gas, other resources that people thought might be in the ground. And that's where you see large selections of Doyons in the 40-mile country, that's historic placer gold and other known mineral resources, in the Mystery Mountains, northeast of McGrath, and then up in the Brooks Range, where we don't have any village communities close to many of these various selections, but that's how they ended up in these large areas across our region.